Okay. We're good? Okay. So we started last time talking about not judging in Yonei Chasidus based on our first impressions. Right? Let's just read again from 3 lines from the bottom on page Kuftes, Perek Chaf. What a person needs to understand is never to judge in Yonim of Chasidus when you're deciding about these extra things. In other words, when you're dealing with the halacha in Shulchan Aruch, so that you could do it al mar'eh and harisha. It says to do something in Shulchan Aruch, you do it. It says don't do something in Shulchan Aruch, you don't do it. That's very simple. But it's the things that aren't in Shulchan Aruch, there, it needs your own shikul adas. You have to think about it. That's what Hashem wants, is never to go just by the first thought. You have to look carefully, and to be thoughtful. How far will this action extend? Where will it extend to? Positive and the negative. I remember, I love this point. Rav Leichter once told me that as a Kabbalah once on Elul, that he was makabel on himself to button his jacket before he starts Shemona Esrei. Like, it doesn't sound so hard, right? Basically, just to button his jacket. But he was thinking about the Toldos Hamaisa. He was thinking about what that leads to. Think about it. You're standing up to daven, you button your jacket. What does that do to you? It makes you stand taller. It makes you feel a little more efficient. It's an action that makes you realize you're standing in front of a king. That makes you daven better. That's an avalanche starting, right? Because once you start davening better, then you have more kavana, and everything changes. So that's a little action, but the toldos hamaisa are significant. There are negative things like that also, I noticed, and I'm still not good at this, but it's something I'm working on. I noticed that even when I come to davening on time, there's a huge difference between coming a minute late or a minute early. A huge difference. And the difference is not in halacha, the difference is not in what people think of me. There's one difference. If you've struggled with this, you understand it. The difference is that when I show up a minute early, I enjoy davening more. I just enjoy it more. Because I feel more in the siddur. I already have my siddur. I'm ready. I don't fall behind as quickly. Like, I'm there. And when I enjoy davening more, my whole day is different. So 1 minute can make a difference in my whole day. I come a minute late, it can have also a difference in my whole day. So a lot of times there are toldos hamagia, and sometimes a person also might make decisions to do something that he thinks are good, but they could have negative implications later on. I'm going to stay up late to learn, but it sounds great, it sounds amazing, wow, what a masmid. But am I thinking about what tomorrow is going to look like, and how that's going to affect me? There's a minhag, some people do this, that they stay up the night before they make a bris. You ever heard this? The night before, there's a minhag, you can ask around. There are people who stay up, they make a mishmar the night before they make a bris. So when their son is 8 days old, the night before, they stay up the whole night to learn. And it's a very special thing, because the bris is very rooted in Talmud Torah. What a holy thing, that the father who's bringing his son into the bris of Avraham Avinu spends the whole night learning beforehand. So before I made my first bris, I was thinking about doing that. And then I thought to myself, will I be nasty to people by the bris because of it? Likely, I know myself. If I'm tired, I'm just not going to have the patience that I need. And I didn't do it. I went to sleep. Because you have to think about the toldos hamagia. What's going to happen? It's very flashy to get up and to say, I stayed up the whole night. It feels good. It might be a big schus, but it's not such a big schus if I insult my uncle, It's not such a big schus if I get into an argument with someone on my child's birth, or if I get annoyed at someone, or I roll my eyes. So you have to think about the toldos hamagia. Sometimes hamaisa ba'atzma yeira etayim. Sometimes the action itself seems good, but ulefisha hataylados ra'os. But because the outcome is not good, Yischayev lahanicha, you'll have to leave it alone. The imyase oisay, and if you'll do it, yiyeh chayte v'loy chasid. If a person will do it, he'll be a chayte and not a chasid. V'hinei ma'ase Gedalia ben Achikam goloi le'einenu. This is the story of Gedalia ben Achikam. It's because of this story that we have a fast called Tzom Gedalia. That what happened was a story in Navi. That what happened was that Gedalia had been told that somebody wanted to hurt him, somebody wanted to kill him, and he wasn't Mekabel Lashon Hara. Now, if you hear that someone wants to kill you, are you allowed to be chayshish for it? Absolutely. Meichash mibai. You're allowed to be chayshish for it. But Gedalia took an approach of chasidus. He's not going to judge a yid not favorably. And the guy killed him. So that was a very nice chasidus, perhaps, but it was a chasidus that led to a bad outcome. That's what he's saying. Shemipnei roiv chasidusay, because of his tremendous chasidus, shaloi ladun es Yishmael lekaf chayva, not to judge Yishmael unfavorably, oy shaloi lekabel lashon hara. Amar li Yochanan ben Kareach, he said to Yochanan ben Kareach, sheker ata doiver al Yishmael, you're speaking falsely about Yishmael. Uma goram, what did it cause? It caused a lot of damage, not just his own death. Goram shamesu, it caused that he died. The Nifzuru Yisrael, the Klal Yisrael spread out. He was the last remaining Achdus of Yidden in Eretz Yisrael at the time. I think the Rambam uses a lashon that the last coal was extinguished when Gedalia was killed. It was the end of the Yishuv in Eretz Yisrael. Coal, like the last Gacheles.
Yishmael killed him?
Yeah, not Yishmael that we know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the story, but it was the Enekai know him. He says it here. The kava gachalta hanishara. I knew there was a gachelis, and it extinguished the leftover coals. Ukvar yiches hakosov elov harigas v'anashim asher nergu ki ilahu harogam. The pasuk speaks about the people that died in that incident as if Gedalia killed them. He didn't kill them. Shmuel killed them. It says, like the Gemara says, al pasuk, es kol pigrei ha'anashim, the bodies of the people, asher hika, that were killed, biyad Gedalia, through Gedalia. So we see this yesod that you have to be very, very careful what a person does out of chasidus. We see this a lot with kanos, no? People make a big stand up for things. Whoa, calm down. Think about what the effects of your actions are going to be. Think about what's going to happen, what this is going to cause, and what that's going to cause. And think about how things are going to unfold.
How should someone kill someone who loves to like show how?
Where is it?
People love to show. Kanaos love to like show how nice they are.
You have to be very wary of people like that. It's usually not L'Shem Shamayim. Okay, and then the next example that he gives is also very common. V'habayis hasheni, and the second base of Mikdash, gam hu charav al yidei chasidus kazeh. The second base of Mikdash was also destroyed through such chasidus, asher le nishkal b'mishkal tzedek, which was not weighed properly. The ma'aseh de Bar Kamtza amru, with the story of Bar Kamtza. Right, the story of Bar Kamtza, whatever the whole story was, but what ended up happening is they brought an animal to the Beis HaMikdash that had a mum. But the mum really could have been Nikrav. But the person there, we'll see in a minute, was afraid to be Makrav, so people shouldn't say that you can be Makrav an animal with a mum. And because he had that Hasidus, it caused the Beis HaMikdash to be destroyed. Savar Rabbanan Lekruve, the Chachamim thought that they should be makrivit. Amar lahem Reb Zechariah ben Avkalos. Zechariah ben Avkalos said to them, Yoimru b'alei mumin craven legabi mizbeach. People will say that you could be makriv a bal mum on the mizbeach. Savar lemiktalei. They wanted to kill the person that brought it, so that nobody should find out. So that the Romans that sent this carbon shouldn't find out that they didn't accept the carbon. Amar lahem Rav Zechariah ben Avkilos, or Rav Zechariah ben Avkilos said, no, Yoimru machtel mum bekachim yehareg. No, you can't do that because they'll say that if someone puts a mum in kachim, he gets killed. It's a chasidus. He was afraid that people will learn the wrong halachas. So benkach ubenkach holach oisei Rasha. So that Rasha went the Hilshan al Yisrael, and he spread a libel about Jews that they don't want to be makriv your karbanos. Baha Kesar, the Caesar came, the Hechriv es Yerushalayim, and destroyed Yerushalayim. And that's what Rabbi Yochanan said. And the Sanusei Shel Rabbi Zechariah, the tzidkus of Rabbi Zechariah, quote unquote, because it was inappropriate tzidkus. Hechriva es Beisenu, destroyed our Beis Hamikdash. The Sarfa es Heichaleinu, and burned the Heichal. The Higaltanu Leveina Umais, and sent us into Galus among the nations. Harei lecha, so you see from here, she'ein ladun b'chasidus, never make a judgment call about chasidus, hamaisa ba'asher husham levad, never make a judgment on the action as it is. Ach tzoref lifnois koi v'choi l'chol atzdadim. You have to turn this way and that way. You have to look koi v'choi, look all around, l'chol atzdadim, on all sides. Sheyachol seichel ha'adam lirais, that the seichel of the person could see. Ad sheyadun be'emes eza yichsha yoser, until he could make an accurate judgment call. What's the right action of chasidus? Ha'asiyah, doing it, ha'aprisha, or not doing it. Always be careful before you do something righteously to make sure it's really the righteous thing to do. Okay, we'll stop here.